Now, just when investors thought they could safely predict a win for Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump makes a bit of a comeback in the polls, and now financial markets are looking much more uncertain. Stocks, gold, currencies, you name it. This election, now just a week away, less than that in fact, is causing tremors right across the board. Oliver Whitfield-Miocic reports.
The FBI reopening the investigation.
It's a problem that just won't go away for Hillary Clinton. And for the whole campaign, Donald Trump has loved talking it up. Last week, FBI Director James Comey sent a letter to Congress that said his agency was reviewing a new batch of emails potentially related to Hillary Clinton's personal server. Then on Tuesday, a new poll predicted that Trump could be 1 point ahead of his Democratic rival. While the majority of surveys show Clinton in the lead, the uncertainty has caused some markets to wobble. The VIX index by the Chicago Board Options Exchange predicts possible volatility in the markets for the next 30 days. Known as Wall Street's fear gauge, the index spiked after the poll was released. The last jump was when Clinton had a health scare on September the 11th. On Wednesday, the impact was felt across the financial world. Japan's Nikkei closed 1.8% lower, and the Hong Kong Hang Seng ended down 1.4%.
That's quite understandable when you consider the percentages and the majority of the city, whether that be London, New York, or anywhere else globally, who had anticipated that Brexit wouldn't come to fruition. I think it would be naive for market observers not to be a little bit more cautious and reduce exposure in the run-up.
Late on Tuesday, there was potentially more bad news for Clinton, again from the FBI. The Crime Bureau uploaded archived files from an investigation into a pardon given by her husband Bill Clinton to fugitive financier Mark Rich in 2001. The timing of the review has been questioned by Hillary's campaign. The FBI says it was an automatic response to a series of Freedom of Information requests. Despite this latest run-in, some analysts believe Hillary will still win the election.
My central scenario is that Clinton will hang on, and although it won't be an easy 4 years minimum in the White House, I think markets will be reassured if they wake up and find her having won that campaign.
There's only days left until we find out who will be the next US president, but that still leaves plenty of time for surprises in both the election and the financial markets. Oliver Whitfield-Miocic, TRT World.
Well, for more on this, we're joined by our editor-at-large, Craig Capitas, who is in Paris as ever. Craig, let's just pick up on the last point there that Oliver made in his report about Mark Rich. You covered the story at the time extensively. Just remind us why Bill Clinton's pardon for the fugitive was so controversial.
Mark Rich died in 2013, yet he still retains the title as the most wanted white-collar criminal in American history. He was charged with numerous crimes, tax evasion, daisy-chaining the price of oil illegally, and trading with Iran during the hostage crisis, which, had he come back to stand trial, would have been a treasonable offense. He was the man who pretty much invented the offshore corporation and how to use it. What happened was Rich split the country in the early 80s. And he, for years, spent tens of millions of dollars trying to get both the Republican Reagan administration and the Republican Bush administration to accept money and favors to give him a pardon. They said no. The prosecutor on this case was Trump supporter Rudy Giuliani, who was a federal attorney in the Lower Manhattan District, New York District at the time. It was only when Clinton became president that Rich's team was able to seduce them, specifically with more than $100,000 paid to Hillary Clinton's senatorial campaign in New York and more than $450,000 donated to the Clinton Library in return for the pardon.
And now we have the FBI releasing 129 pages of documents, but so many of them are very heavily redacted. Does it reveal anything new?
Not really. other than a repetition of the fact that many of the players in the Clinton Justice Department and the White House at the time, including John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, former Attorney General Eric Hodler, and others, are now working for the Clinton campaign or are surrogates for her. The takeaway on this and why the Clinton campaign doesn't like it is very clear, Matthew. Clinton Inc.'s first client, the Clinton Foundation's first client, was Mark Rich. It was with Rich that they realized, and I reported all this at the time, this is not speculation, that they could make money off of trading favors for cash. And that is what critics say both Bill and Hillary Clinton have done for the past 16 years.
Well, let me ask you a final question,
this was
Craig.
Their first. Mark Rich was the.
Yeah, look, Craig, Rich was wanted for massive financial crimes, including tax evasion and other things. Do you think that Clinton's rivals will use this to depict her and her husband's attitude towards tax evasion in any way?
They already have done that, Matthew. I today, because I wrote the biography of Mark Rich, have been fielding dozens of calls from both Clinton surrogates and Trump surrogates wanting me to comment on this. I, of course, have refused to do any of that. Look, money greases the wheel. We all know that regardless of the side you're on. But the important thing to remember here is that Mark Rich was Clinton Inc.'s first customer. You look at Rich, you look at what happened, and you can track their career, pay to play, from 2001 until now.
Okay, Craig Capitas in Paris, thank you very much for that analysis.